What if I told you the thing most people are missing from their health routine isn't a supplement, a workout, or a sleep tracker? It's protein. And not just more protein, but enough of the right kind, spaced throughout the day to keep your metabolism humming, your energy steady, and your muscle from slowly disappearing as you age. Now, last week we made the case that muscle is medicine. This week we're talking about what fuels that medicine, protein. Today on Build for Health, we're digging into just that, the how much and the why behind the most essential macronutrient for anyone who wants to live stronger, longer. From muscle recovery to blood sugar control, satiety to fat loss. Protein plays a bigger role than most people realize, and most people are nowhere near close to getting enough. I'm Pete Wright, here with Srdjan Injac, and this is Build for Health. Srdjan, we're here. Episode 2, we're talking about protein. Protein, I think, is your love language.
Yes, I love talking about protein. I talk about it all day, every day.
Okay, so let's do a quick review of what we talked about last week that stuck out for you. This is, last week on Build for Health. What do you want people to remember as you set the table for our conversation today?
This is the reason why we're talking about protein, is because last week we talked about the skeletal muscle mass and the importance of the muscle mass. And we mentioned how the skeletal muscle mass is the key to longevity. So it's not about just the physical appearance. So loss of the muscle mass is linked to many chronic diseases, and studies have suggested that having more muscle mass can help you lower the risk of cardiovascular diseases by improving blood circulation, reduce blood pressure, and it enhances your body's ability to use glucose efficiently, helping to lower the risk of developing insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. So there's so many benefits to the muscle mass. So it's pretty much your metabolic currency. It's the largest site for the glucose disposal and storage for your amino acids, which we're going to be talking about today, and the protein.
Let's dig into protein, the practicals of protein.
Yeah, so what you need to know, the protein is made of 20 amino acids. Now, out of those 20, 9 those amino acids are essential, which means you must obtain that through the diet, through food or supplement, because the body cannot make them independently. So we need to consume these in specific amounts just to stimulate the protein synthesis. And then you have to look at the quality of the protein and the source of the protein, where you're getting those amino acids, because not all the food actually has all those 9 amino acids. So that's why the quality plays a big role, which there's a lot of vegans, vegetarians, and I'm nothing against them. But when it comes to the protein and getting all amino acids, that's when you actually have to look at meat, right? Beef, fish, turkey, and all that stuff. So just literally the difference between the animal and the plant protein, it's a difference in the level of the amino acids. So animal protein is more complete protein, and it contains all those 9 essential amino acids, which plants don't. And it's also easier to digest and absorb. It's also rich in B12, iron, zinc, and omega-3s. So it's more effective for muscle building due to the high levels of leucine, which is one of the amino acids that triggers the muscle protein synthesis. So not all the plants actually have the leucine. And then we'll talk about later on the amount that it takes of leucine that you would actually have to digest with every meal, just to activate that protein synthesis.
Well, that's what I want to talk about, because we've got 3 categories of protein intake, right? There's meat protein, there's vegetarian protein, wherever that comes from, and there's supplemental protein, right? Or I guess through external non-food supplemental proteins.
Yes,
meat protein. I guess is that how you would order it in terms of ease of getting the right amount of protein into your body every day? If you're a meat eater, you're probably okay, but the other 2 you might struggle with?
Yes. So if you're a meat eater, it's great. That's where all the, because it's a complete protein. Like you'll get all those 9 essential amino acids through the meat. Now, if you're vegan, vegetarian, and most of them, they already know that, they have to eat a lot more food. So a lot more different plants and also just to get all those 9 essential amino acids. And they're aware of it. So, but because of the daily intake of the protein intake is so high that most of them are not actually able to eat that much food. So it's hard to get. So that's why they'll turn towards the supplements, where they have like a protein bars or protein shakes, which are also, they're okay, but you would want to rather eat the food than take the protein shakes or protein bars.
If you have the choice.
Exactly. The other thing, that they're more for a convenience, after you work out, nobody has a 6 ounces of chicken in their pocket walking around that they can eat after the workout. And there's a protein bar or a protein shake. They'll mix it. They'll drink it before they get a chance to actually eat a meal, sit down and actually have food.
Okay. We're not, I want to talk about amounts because I think this is, this is the mystery of protein is how much should I be getting? But first I want to talk about what else protein is good for because it's not just skeletal muscle, right? What are you counting on protein to do for you?
No, not at all. Not just for the muscle. So roughly about 60% of your body is water and half of that remaining 40% is actually protein. So your bones, your ligaments, tendons, liver, brain, skin, everything, fingernails, they're all built from protein. So the protein is the master regulator of all that is happening in your body. It's controlling all the functions in your tissues and organs, including the muscles and immune system. So protein actually plays a crucial role in balancing your hormones as well, like thyroid hormones, which helps regulate your blood glucose and metabolic rate, and then can impact the growth of hormone secretion and bone health. They're all made from amino acids that's provided by protein. So even your brain, so the brain uses protein as well, so to produce neurotransmitters, which are essential to brain cell communication. All these functions make protein crucial for longevity, metabolic function, and quality of life. So it's more than just for the muscle repair and the muscle growth. That's why it's important to take enough protein every day because we do not take enough protein. Nobody does.
Let us go to the really, really big question. It is the question that has plagued me most of my life. How much protein should I be getting daily? And why have I not been able to do it?
It's really hard.
It's actually hard. Yeah.
It's not that easy. It's actually really hard. Everyone struggles with that. I mean, average female eats about like 65 grams of protein and males eat about like 90 grams, which is not nearly enough, not even close to what your body actually needs.
Okay. How does the body know what it actually needs? Like, how do you know what the body actually needs?
Well, there is something called protein turnover. So, which means the body must replace anywhere from 250 to 300 grams of protein daily. And nobody eats that much protein. So that doesn't mean you have to eat that much protein because a lot of amino acids are actually reusable. The body will recycle them. But you need to eat that protein because it regulates everything. I mean, your body will use the protein for function of your kidneys, your liver, your brain, your heart, right? And then whatever is left, it will use it for your muscle recovery. So the body is smart. Like if you eat those low carbs diet and low calorie and like low protein diet, like the body will take those amino acids from your muscles just so it can stay functional. And all those organs, they demand a lot of amino acids.
I just did a quick search. You said that protein turnover, 200 to 300 grams of protein a day. Okay. A whole roast chicken contains 140 to 160 grams of protein. A whole chicken. I need to eat 2 chickens every day is what you're telling me. Are there enough chickens? I'm now worried. I'm really worried about food now.
Well, it's not just chicken. You can find, there's you have turkey, you have beef, you have seafood. You have,
Yeah.
other source of protein. Like, don't eat all the chickens. We need some chickens too.
I'm worried about the
leave some
chickens.
chickens
Yeah.
for mother.
Okay. All right.
But
you said I didn't need to eat that much every day thanks to turnover. So what should I be eating?
This is how you know how much protein you actually need. So eventually, every adult should consume at least 1 gram per pound of their ideal body weight each day. So I would say that, 1 gram, from my experience, 1 gram per pound of your own like current body weight, it'll just kind of maintain the muscle mass that you have. If you want to actually get more, I would go to 1.3, maybe 1.4 grams of protein. So you try to eat as much protein as you can. There's a big myth, and I've heard people before say, well, if I eat too much protein, that protein will go and turn into fat. I'm like, no, that's not true. You can eat as much protein as you want, and the body will use every single gram of protein. So
where does that myth comes from?
I don't know where people are coming from all this. Like, I'm like, who told you that? Where did you hear that? Where did you learn this stuff? And I'm like, no, just eat as much protein as you can. Because then I try to explain them why they need it and about the protein turnover, and they never heard of that. That's why I tell them with every single meal, you have to have at least 25, that's a minimum, to 30 grams of protein with every single meal to activate that protein synthesis. The most important meals are the one in the morning and then one at night, your first meal and your last meal. The reason why is because the first meal of the day needs to be high in protein because it sets the tone for the day. So it's supporting the muscle recovery, it's appetite control, and metabolic health. So it stimulates the muscle protein synthesis and then helps regulate the blood sugar level, which leads to a more stable energy level and prevents that mid-morning crash that can make you feel sluggish throughout the day. So you'll set yourself for metabolic regulation for the rest of the day. So that's why it's important that that first meal has at least 30 grams of protein just to set yourself up for the rest of the day. And then, of course, at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, you're going to go to sleep, your body starts recovering. That's when your body starts to grow, right? Your muscle mass. You don't grow when you go to the gym and you work out. At the gym, you're pretty much damaging, you're breaking down those muscles, right? So it's what you put in your body after your workout. The amount of protein that you put in is what's going to determine if that muscle is going to get stronger, if it's going to grow or not. So a lot of people, I've seen them like now because they work out, they feel like they can eat whatever they want and they'll be fine. Which I'm like, well, it doesn't quite work that way.
Are you looking at me while you say those words?
I was looking over here the other way.
Okay. Now we started this conversation. This is where we really get into the practical proteins, because we started this conversation with where your protein comes from. If you want to get 30 grams of protein, I guarantee you there are people who are going to listen to this and say, I'm sure I have enough protein, but don't know what 30 grams of protein looks like. Well,
that's why I tell everyone, and they hate this because nobody really likes to track their food and what they're eating.
Yeah.
And there's so many different apps out there that you can download, and you just put in what you eat every day and see how much protein you're actually eating. Everyone thinks they eat enough. Even the people that come and tell me like, oh, I eat plenty of protein, I don't need that. When they start tracking their food, they're kind of surprised that they're actually not eating as much as they thought. Mm-hmm. So track your food for at least a week, see where you're at, and then see how you can improve that daily protein intake, and start scaling your food. I know it's kind of pain, and people don't really like it, but once you start, just scale it for like a week or 2 weeks, just to kind of get an idea of what 6 ounces of chicken looks like, how much chicken that is, mm-hmm. or beef or anything like that. And then once you kind of get that general idea, then you can go on without actually having to scale every single time. But it's nice to scale, and then while you do that, use that time to actually prep your meals, because a lot of us don't really have time. That's where we struggle to get that protein intake because, people have jobs and other responsibilities. And so they don't always have time to kind of make sure they're eating the right food and putting in that protein with every meal and all that stuff. So it's hard. But once a day, once actually every like 3 or 4 days, find the times where you can prep your meals. Put them in the little containers, put them in the fridge, make some snacks, and then just take it with you. So that way you can just grab it, eat it if you're in a hurry, if you don't have time to make food, or if you just feel lazy and don't feel like making anything. Just grab those meals and just eat those. And there's a lot of places where you can also buy those meals that already have the macros broken down.
I think it's, just listening to you talk, I think what I need is to just write a list and put it on the fridge of like, here are the top 10 things that I like and how much of them I should have. Like, is it 6 ounces of chicken breast, 6 ounces of salmon fillet, cottage cheese, lentils, beans, whatever it is, so I don't have to think, because I think that's what gets in the way, is when I have to stop and think, especially when I'm sore after a workout, right? I come home and I have a ritual. That is, I need my protein shake right after that. It's like a treat. It's like I've earned it. It's good. It's got berries and stuff in it. Makes me feel good. But I need that for every meal. I need the ritual for every meal. And I think that will help me sort of unlock the next transition in the journey toward getting stronger.
Yeah, that's kind of how I do it. Like every night, I'm like, okay, let's get ready for tomorrow. What do I need? I look at my schedule. This is where I'm going to be able to eat. I have time here. I don't really have time here. So I'll prepare all my meals at night. Even the breakfast, I'm not a morning person. So I hate making breakfast and all that stuff. So I'll make my eggs late at night, put it in the fridge so that way in the morning I can just grab them, take them with me. So I have everything ready the night before for that next day. That's how I go. So every night I'll take a little time, prep my meal for the next day. If I have time, I can prep my meal for the next 2 days. And I can just, because I'm busy here at the gym all the time and I'll work for like 6-7 hours straight and don't really have any breaks. So I'll have my snacks here, I'll have my meals here, and that way I don't really have to think about it. And it's a lot easier.
What do you find for people who don't have, this may be a strange question, so bear with me. For people who aren't taking enough protein, what do they notice in their function, in their body's function? And what does it take for them to notice the change when they up their intake of protein?
Well, it's not just that over time they're going to get stronger or not, but the benefits of a protein is pretty much it increases your energy, the mental clarity. I mean, it doesn't just decrease the body fat, it improve the body composition. It also reduced cravings, because another thing that we didn't talk about the protein is the digestion, the absorption of protein. So it takes energy to break down the protein, and this is called thermogenesis. So it takes more energy to metabolize and break down protein than carbs and fats. So eating more protein will keep you full longer. It will prevent you from overeating and reduce the feeling of hunger, which helps with the fat loss. So
and that's strictly just because the food is in your system longer.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's from like 100% of calories that you get from protein, 20% of those calories will be utilized to metabolize that protein. So you're only getting like 80 calories.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll see the difference in your energy level as well. So you will definitely notice difference when your protein goes down, and then you'll notice all the differences when you start actually eating more protein.
I know you wrote me earlier and you said, I think I'm really going to piss off vegetarians today. I feel like you teased that up front, but we need to talk about, just briefly, for those of you who are not in the meat forward lifestyle, where do they get their protein?
They need to eat a lot more. And I get a lot of clients that are already vegans, vegetarians, and they're very well, every single one of them are very well aware of their protein intake. And when I tell them how much they need,
we love our vegetarian friends. We love them so much.
No, I do. I have a lot of friends that are vegans and vegetarians, all this stuff. And every time I start talking about protein, they're just like looking at me because I'm like, whenever we go out for lunch, I'm like, you're gonna have to eat a lot more than that. And they're just like staring at me. I'm like, yeah, a piece of meat will fix all that stuff. And they're all just laughing. So it just takes a lot more food. And, with that, when you eat, your calories are going to go up. It's going to, skyrocket. It's going to go through the roof because you have to eat more. And a lot of actually clients get surprised when they ask me, and I have nothing against vegetables. I'll eat vegetables, but sometimes I'll go weeks without actually having any vegetables. Literally, I know. That's how I get from everyone. They're like, what? And I'm like, you're telling me to eat? Like, yeah, I eat a lot of meat, a lot of fruit, some carbs. Of course, it helps with the energy. But I just don't feel like that vegetables have anything really that I can't get from anything else. Like, you'll get a little bit of fiber. Yeah, you get that.
Fiber's good. Fiber's good for other things.
And it's great. Yeah. But I'll have the supplement. Sometimes I'll drink some of it and then fiber, but I don't really need much of that. And I feel fine. I feel great. I feel like I have a lot of energy. I don't feel like I'm lacking in anything. And, and because I say, like, I have nothing against vegetables, I'll have sometimes if I have time when I'm making my meals, I'm like, okay, I'll have some broccoli, I'll have some asparagus and things like that. So I'll eat vegetables. It's not that I don't like it. It's just sometimes when I'm in a hurry, I'm like, I don't have time. So I'll go weeks without actually eating any vegetables. People get surprised with that.
Well, when you prioritize as you have for your muscular system, it makes sense, right? You're already shoveling whole chickens into your mouth to get the protein you need.
Exactly, because I have to make sure that I get my protein intake, that daily protein intake. And a lot of people come to me, they're like, well, I just can't eat that much. Like, I'm not hungry. I'm like, well, just take some of the carbs out, some of the fats and replace it with protein. But they're like, well, I like carbs.
But I love the carbs.
Yeah, they taste so good. I'm like, I know, they're delicious. And I love carbs too. It's great. But so you can, you definitely can. It's just a matter of actually doing it and not eating of the stuff that you actually want to, that you like.
Yeah. Well, and now I know your pat answer is, have you tried cutting vegetables?
Yes. I'm like, how about a little bit less vegetables or less carbs and put it. We'll find enough space in that plate for the protein.
Last question, and then we'll wrap it up, talk about what's coming up next week. Last question is supplemental proteins. What role do supplemental proteins fit in your lifestyle?
So, that's what I was going to say we were going to talk about maybe next episode. Talk about supplements and all the supplements that people should be taking, some supplements that you don't really need, and like a protein. And it's great. Like, I eat a lot of, I'll eat protein bars, which is great too, when I don't have time to eat, or I'll have my protein shakes. I drink those after every workout. So, but if you can actually find time to eat real food, I would rather do that than have a protein bar. It's a lot healthier than taking a protein bar. And then we'll go into it next time, picking the right type of protein bar and going with the right brands, how to read the labels, what to kind of look for, what to stay away from, because some of the proteins bars are a little bit better than others, and they have different things, and some of them are a little bit more tastier. They taste better and all that.
Sure.
Yeah, and then also with the protein powder, they were like, which one should I take? And everyone's a little bit different. Like, I have a very sensitive stomach, so it took me a while to find a protein that doesn't upset my stomach. So all the protein powder, they're protein powder. They're pretty similar. Like,
Okay.
You'll be fine if you go with either one, whichever one feels good for your digestion and stomach, doesn't upset it, and you can actually eat after that, doesn't get you bloated and stuff like that. And I have nothing against any of those, but a lot of people that would rather eat protein bars, and like, oh, I have every day 3 protein bars. I'm like, no, you don't want to do that every single day. It's okay to have it now and then, but you shouldn't be replacing your meals with the protein powder and the protein bar. That's not
when that becomes sustenance. That's a problem.
Exactly.
You have. I'm looking forward to next week talking about the supplemental additions to your diet and lifestyle. You've got an array of different things at ELEV8 Fitness, and I want to know what every one of them does. Every time you're drinking a protein shake, I want to know what it is. So that's next week.
We'll go all over that. Yeah.
Outstanding. My favorite thing. This has been great. Thank you, Srdjan. Thank you so much for doing the show. I learned something new from you every single time we talk. And thank you, everybody, for joining us this week. We're glad you were here. We appreciate your time and your attention. If you've got questions about training or recovery or how to make strength work in your life, we want to hear them. Head to the show notes, just swipe up in your podcast app, and there's a link that says send in a question, and it'll get to us, and we will answer it on an upcoming show. And don't forget, subscribe and share. This is how we grow stronger together. Thanks for listening to Built for Health. We'll catch you next week.